we'll really see what happens and see how things panned out. But as I mentioned, a couple of guys already suited up and played for their teams. Karis LeVert suited up for Cleveland for the first time last night. Obviously, Sabonis suited up for Sacramento last night. So let's get to the first one, really. And let's get to the Harden to Philly trade. And obviously, the Nets got back Ben Simmons, Seth Curry, Andre Drummond, a 2022 first rounder and a 2027 first rounder. And the Sixers got James Harden and Paul Millsap in the deal. Carl, how we feel? Let's grade both teams as far as how they made out with this trade. Are you giving? I mean, I think obviously we're all in agreement. We both give Philly an A for this trade.
Yeah, I give Philly an A, but I forgot all about I just forgot all about Paul Millsap because he wasn't playing either.
Yep.
He didn't really want to be bothered with the team either, to be honest. People don't want to talk about that, but he didn't quit or nothing. But I just saying I wouldn't qualify it as quitting, I guess.
He lost passion with the team.
Yeah. He lost passion with the team, I guess, and just stopped playing. But I give them an A. Yeah, I give them an A because you're still getting back James Harden. I know he's not having a great year, but he's still averaging 22, 8, and 11.
Yeah.
So that being 8 rebounds and 11 assists. So that's still 11 assists is still like second behind Chris Paul. So that's pretty good as far as assist leaders.
I was talking to people about the trade on people were swiping up on Snapchat, and then when we talk about the Nets moving away Harden, and Blake, I'll get your take on this in a minute, but we talk about the Nets moving away a guy like Harden, and people were saying, you want to give up all that for James Harden. I'm like, yes, I'm giving up even when we were talking about Tyrese Maxey moving, I'm like, I'm giving up what I can to get James Harden back. He's a once in a lifetime offensive guy. You know what I'm saying? And we all know that Philly's never really had a perimeter guy at this level at all. There's no one on James Harden's level, but they've never had a great shot creator like this, So if I'm Philly, I'm not mad about moving guys out. You know what I'm saying? They were able to hold on to Maxey, and I was kind of surprised they were able to, keep him on that roster. But you move out what you can to bring back James Harden. You know what I'm saying?
I was like, people were actually, I heard people actually say that too. Don't give away Tyrese Maxey. I'm like, you're going to not sacrifice him. He's a great young player, but sacrifice him for James Harden. Yeah. Like I think James Harden, I think they just honestly look at the 22 points or 23 points he went around it. Eight rebounds, 11 assists. Those 11 assists is still impactful. I guess they don't think double digits assists mean anything. But he's still averaging like close to 23 points. And I think honestly, he's probably not playing like as what we know him to be, which is near 30, because he kind of lost interest playing with them. I'm being honest. So that's what it was.
As you said last episode, maybe being here is going to, he wanted to come to Philly. So maybe being here, you may see that point total jump up a lot more. And now he's going to have the ball a lot more. So he
was supposed to go to Philly at first. Remember that? It was either the Brooklyn Nets or the Philadelphia 76ers. But I'm going to let Blake speak. I'm kind of being greedy.
You good. Grade-wise, I don't know if I'd give Philly an A, to be honest with you, just based off of how much they gave up for Harden. If you look at it, I think they gave up Simmons, Drummond, Seth Curry, and 2 first-round picks. I don't know if you all remember some of their asking prices for Simmons. They wanted first-round picks.
True.
So it's trying to turn around, and then you're giving up 2 first-round picks of your own. It's kind of like you could have got a little bit more.
Yeah. I mean, here I would say I slightly disagree. Like I said, I'm selling the farm for Harden, and you also look at it when I mentioned Tyrese Maxey and Tyrese Maxey earlier. I'm saying that to say people. If I'm a GM, I'm willing to give up a lot to go get a guy like Harden back because he's that much valuable. Now, when we're talking about moving away those picks and everything, and also too Philly kept what they wanted to keep. They didn't give up Thibault. They didn't give up Maxey. They kept the 2 guys that we thought Brooklyn would ask for to go along with Simmons. They kept those 2, and got a James Harden back, So I think those picks were definitely worth the sacrifice. I'm not sure how Brooklyn's going to use them. I'm not sure how useful it's going to be to them, especially this next 2022 draft pick. I mean, it's not going to hurt them at all, but I thought Philly played out. He made it out pretty well. I do think losing Drummond, they lose a bit of size and experience off the bench, and he's been pretty solid this season. Losing Seth Curry, they lost a little bit of depth, and that's going to be maybe a little bit of an issue moving forward. But as I said, I'd give all that up to get a guy like Harden. And hopefully Harden's able to stay healthy too.
I can see why Blake and other people are somewhat skeptical about what they gave up because, like I said, James Harden not averaging the same amount of points and not playing the same way we're accustomed to see him playing. But to me, I don't know if that's based off him just maybe like slightly declining, or he just lost interest playing with him.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of in between with that. I don't know if it's just him, like I said, him declining or actually just losing interest in playing with the Nets because of the situation.
Yeah, it could be one of those two things, and even so, I'd still take this version of James Harden and throw him in.
Because real quick, we saw him when he loses interest. We saw him play with the Rockets last year and how that looks.
Yeah.
And then he went to the Nets in the first game he had a triple double just like that. So clearly
Yeah, so you're gonna get this, just James Harden with the new mentality, and he's gonna be happier where he's at. I'm happy what Philly gave up, and the point they kept Harris, Thibault, and Tyrese Maxey is really insane to me. Like those were guys that we straight up thought were gonna be on the move, and now they have a legitimate contender. You did mention depth a little bit. Yeah, we'll see how that figures out. I mean, we obviously know that rotation kind of fizzles out once the playoffs come around. You're only going to need about 7 guys, and that 7-man rotation is pretty solid. As you said, not having that size, Andre Drummond now off the bench could hurt him a little bit, but we'll really see what happens because there were games where Drummond kind of held it down when Embiid wasn't there down low. We'll see what it does for him, but I don't think it's going to hurt him that much. You have a core of Tobias Harris, James Harden, Joel Embiid, really, really good role players around. Yeah, I'm thinking about it right now. They can go 8-7 deep in the playoffs. So they're going to be just fine. I'll give Philly an A+ for this, honestly. They sacrifice a little bit of the future, but I think it's worth it to get a guy like Harden who wants to be here and could possibly end up being here for the near future. So
now, question. If I say right now it's title or bust for Philly, would you all agree?
Yeah. Oh, without a doubt.
Oh, yeah. When you do a move like that and you get a player of that stature, James Harden, is title buzz. If you make the finals and lose, it's considered a loss. Obviously, because you lose it.
If they don't win a championship, I'll say in the next either this year, next year, or next 1, 2, 3 years. Is this considered? Are we gonna look back on this? Consider this kind of a failure on their who's their GM? Daryl Morey.
Daryl Morey.
His fault.
That's not his fault that they won't put in the whatever you want to call it to win the championship. He made the right move, in my opinion. It's up to the player sometimes for it to fall where it needs to fall.
I agree. That's a good question. Same thing with Brooklyn. I ain't mad at Brooklyn for making the moves.
Oh, hell no. Yeah.
James Harden.
Oh, yeah, I'm not mad.
Yeah, but it's just like they just didn't work out, and a bunch of unforeseen shit happened. No one knew Kyrie Kyrie thing was going to happen. No one knew Harden was going to get pissed off out of nowhere. Yeah. No one knew Katie was going to be that unhealthy. So,
but I can kind of ask the question, the Blaze question. Does this kind of, I don't know, does this kind of make people will this make people view James Harden differently because he keeps wanting to get traded? For a superstar, for his like a superstar of his stature, for him to get traded back, like, has it even been a full season yet? Let's be honest.
Because he got traded. What was that?
Barely.
What was that? That was last year, wasn't it?
Last year.
They moved him well before the deadline too.
Okay, yeah. So I think it was actually like September that happened.
September, early, it was actually like probably October. I forgot when the season started.
Okay, yeah. It probably was October then because it started in October.
No, because
or November.
So was it 20? It was 2020 when they moved him.
It's okay. Yeah. I'll just say.
But I think they moved him like during the when the regular season first started. That's when they moved him.
Yeah. I just forgot when it started. I forgot what.
I think it started like October, November. It started later than normal. Yeah. I know that.
Yeah.
But anyway, he's been there no longer than a year and a half. I'll say that. So he's been like no longer there for a year and a half, and he gets traded again. How does that make him look? If we being honest. And it's how he's gotten out of the situation. He hasn't gotten out by waiting for the contract to expire and leaving. He's gotten out of there basically of just pouting and saying, "I want to leave now."
That's a fact. That's a fact.
That's a bad look. He's
even when I remember when they first like put it on Twitter, I think earlier when he was talking about he wanted to trade, but he didn't want to say it like publicly because he didn't want people to get mad at him or something like that. I was like,
they go get mad at him because
they go get mad regardless.
It's a bad look when you just kind of pout your way out of a situation instead of I don't want to sound wrong, but instead of just manning up and just dealing with it sometimes, and just instead of pouting and just saying I want to get traded now.
Yeah,
let me go.
I said last episode I gave him a little bit of a pass because of the situation that Brooklyn was in, but like you said, at the same time, now that you really think about it and kind of just sit back and look at it all, you like, oh, this dude really did pout his way out of 2 straight teams.
That's what I'm saying. If it was just this one time, he has somewhat excuses because of the situation.
Yeah.
But it's the fact that he did the same thing last year.
Yeah.
So when a thing keeps happening, it's before. If it keeps happening like this, I'm going to look at you a little sideways.
Now, here's my counterpoint to that. I'm gonna play devil's advocate here.
Okay.
We're living, so everything is judged by rings, right? Or the OGs judge everything by rings.
Yeah.
When young guys,
I think we do too.
True.
I think
true. When we see guys move from team to team, that's because they hear the argument and they're like, I'm not going to sit and wait when I'm 30 something years old and be unsure about this team's future when I know my legacy is going to be based off if I win a championship or not.
Yeah.
That's Harden's issue. You know what I'm saying? I don't think Harden saw a champion. For the very point that you just don't know how available guys are going to be for Brooklyn. If I'm Harden, I don't see a championship happening in Brooklyn either. You know what I'm saying? Same thing with Houston. I feel like there were a lot of wasted James Harden years. So maybe it's because he's had enough of it and he just didn't see anything positive coming out of this year with Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Maybe that.
You have to know that
you mentioned Houston. It was because he was there almost a decade, wasn't
he? Yeah.
I'd say at least probably half of those years kind of wasted, I think.
Yeah. A lot of opportunities that just didn't pan out, you know what I'm saying? And then once after that bubble, it just kind of felt like directionless. And he was like, okay, so let me, you know what I mean? I get the move out of Houston and I get the move out of Brooklyn, all of that. So like I said, like Carl said, when you look back at it all, yeah, the pouting to get out, there's a really bad look.
It's childish. It's childish.
When guys want to move from team to team like this, it to me, it shows.
It's just how the NFL is. I mean, NBA.
You think about that Super Bowl, but
man.
And you can't even say, like, at least I'll say this: these guys are committed to winning because the dude's only changing. He wants to win.
Yeah.
So you know what I mean. So it's kind of one of those things where you take what you can from it. You know what I mean? Yeah, these guys are moving, and yeah, these guys are being disloyal or whatever. But they want to win. So I guess there's a trade-off there. It's a weird trade-off, though. You know.
But my thing, what if you don't win with Joel Embiid? How are you going to look then? You want to get traded again?
I think he's really where he wanted to, because I know those Philly rumors have been going on for a while now.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I think he's really where he wants to be now.
Yeah, that's true.
At least I think.
I don't know if you can call. I'm gonna be honest. I don't know if you can call him the best, because some people called him the best scorer all time. I disagree.
Yeah.
But we've heard people call him the best. One-on-one player and best type of score all time. No one-on-one player, no best one-on-one player or best score ever has been traded twice.
Yeah.
Back-to-back years like that.
Now, I mean, I don't think when you say like no one-on-one player has been traded twice, he's had a big hand in it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, it's not like
It's not like he was
because of him.
That's true. I worded that wrong. Yeah, it's him. Yeah, my bad.
Like he was dog water or something.
Oh yeah, that's true.
But we'll see how it pans out. But this is, like I said, man, this is a good situation for him. A ring here in Philly would look legit because it's not like he's on this mega team at all. You know what I mean? So hopefully they can make it happen. I'm interested to see how he fits with Embiid, because he's never played with the big this skilled. You know, like the James Harden, the bigs he's played with have all been pick and roll guys. You know, go over the last 10 years. You know, Nick Claxton, Clint Capella. You know, who else was in there in Houston?
Dwight Howard. That didn't work out.
Yeah.
You mentioned pick and roll, though. I think this is gonna be some beautiful pick and roll.
Yeah, even if they want to go to that, because I've never seen him beat in pick and roll a lot. You know what I'm saying? I've never seen.
I doubt we'll see it now.
Or necessarily not even pick and roll, just pick and pop.
Pick and pop.
That makes sense. So you can just pick. You can just set the pick, and Embiid can shoot a little 15-footer pick and pop.
It's going to be so tough to guard in switch situations, dude. It's going to be hell. Like, you're talking about the most offensively skilled big man in the NBA, arguably, in Joel Embiid, and the most offensively skilled player in the game, you know, in Harden, if we want to call him that. That's going to be a hell of a 1-2 punch, dude. When those guys run those plays together, it's going to be insane to watch. I'm interested to see how Doc Rivers makes it all fit. It shouldn't be that difficult of a fit, because Harden is actually pretty versatile, so you can do a lot of different things with him.
Yeah.
You could put him at the 2. You know, you don't have to totally sacrifice Tyrese Maxey and what he's doing, his productivity. So I'm interested to see what happens. We'll see what it does. We'll see how it balances out from a three-point shooting standpoint. You know, you lost Seth Curry and you did lose one of the better three-point shooters on your team, but you did get back James Harden. You know what I mean? So we'll see how it all pans out. But yeah,
I will say this: if they don't win, like Blake said, within the next 1 to 2 years, maybe even 3, I don't know if they get that long of a shot. But
I say 1 to 2. To be honest,
if they don't win in the next 1 to 2 years, Doc Rivers' season is going to be hot again.
Oh my God, yeah. If he can't make
it was
this,
hot. It was hot. It was hot after this year.
It was definitely
Last year. I mean,
last season. Yeah.
I
Especially,
thought he was gonna be fired after that Hawks.
Let me tell you. No, I'm gonna say it after this year. If they get in the playoffs and they win in a 3-1 league and they lose it, he might get fired.
Yeah, he might not. He might not get another vacant head coaching vacancy in a very, very, very long time. You know what I'm saying? So we'll see what happens. But overall, Philly gets an A. I love what they did. Like I said, that Harden and Embiid duo is going to be absolutely scary. It's going to be one of the most ridiculous things we've seen in basketball.
Hey,
we've never seen this. We've never seen a guard big. The last time we saw a guard big connection like that with this dominant was Kobe and Shaq. Now name me another one. I'm trying to think. We had
potential with Kobe and Dwight, but that shit didn't work.
True.
Out.
Penny and Shaq.
Penny Shaq. Let's go all the way back. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, D-Wade and Shaq. That was dominant.
D-Wade, Shaq was dominant. Yep. So there have been a couple, but this one, man, is because we'll see how it works out. I'm very excited to see how those guys fit together, man. It's gonna be
that's about it. It hasn't been a ton of duos in terms of guard and centers.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that's been dominant, of course.
Been dominant like this. Yeah, there are a couple like really dominant 1-2 punches as far as bigs and guards. So yeah, there's that. And like I said, you look how many birds that Philly killed. Like we know they needed playmaking. You go get one of the best playmakers in the NBA. We know they needed additional scoring. You go get one of the best scorers in the NBA. So I'm a fan of it. Paul Millsap can give you some versatility off the bench if he's going to be available and all of that.
Yeah, old man Paul. That's what I call him.
Still a Swift.
He get buckets.
Yeah, still get buckets. Army Knife player, can make passes, can defend, can rebound if you need him to, can be a small ball five.
What I actually like most about him that's underrated. He's a great offensive rebounder.
Great offensive rebounder.
So,
very
great locker room presence too.
Yeah, yeah. My thing is, I just thought about this since they're both in the East. I really want to see the Nets face the 76ers.
Dude, it's going to be, and it could be competitive. That transitions very well to Brooklyn. How are we grading how Brooklyn made out with this?
A plus. However, give them about 10 pluses. They'd be great.
But I'm responding to Blake. I respond to Blake. You gave Philly an A++, or you gave Brooklyn A++.
I don't know about Philly. The only reason why with Philly is because of how much they gave up. That's the only reason.
Here's my counter to that. My only thing with Brooklyn is this. I love on paper, they're still a really good team. Like I'm not sitting here acting like the swap with what they got back. They got a couple of really good role players back, and you got back Ben Simmons. The issue here is going to be availability. We talked about it last pod. That's the only reason I can't give them an A, because I don't trust how consistent their roster is going to be. As far as the move goes, yes, I'm fine with it. But as far as looking down to the future and thinking, okay, how available is Kyrie going to be, or how available is so-and-so going to be?
Then you're left with KD and Ben Simmons.
That's what I'm saying. I don't like that dynamic. I don't like that duo. Now there are guys who can pick up some slack next to him. Like Curry can be a shot creator if you ask him to. You definitely can. But like I said, is it enough? You know what I'm saying? So that's my only issue with them is, it's a good move on paper. I have no issue with it. You get Ben Simmons, you get one of the best defenders ever. Not ever. One of the best defenders in the NBA. He could add some transition offense to you. We know that doesn't translate to the postseason, but he can give you that dynamic on the offensive end in the regular season. So we'll see what it does. But I give them like an A- or a B+ just based off of my skepticism about their availability.
Now, if this is going to be a game changer. Now, if all this time Ben Simmons hasn't worked on his game, and they just did that trade, and the Nets did that trade, and they're going to feel, I don't want to say stupid, but they're going to feel somewhat type of way.
Yeah, they're going to feel some type of way.
Some type of way if he comes back the same player.
That's true.
Now,
I don't think. Well,
if he comes back, I was just about to say this. Yeah. If he comes back the same player that he was before all this mess went on, that shows me a lot about him. I'm be honest.
What about this, Carl? Here's what I like. Here's what I do like about this move. Steve Nash is a very creative coach. Yeah, he goddamn it, he ran Bruce Brown as a center with some lineups. I think Ben Simmons being here is good. I think it's going to be beneficial for him because Steve Nash is going to put him in better situations than I think Brett Brown and Doc Rivers did. I think we're going to see a lot more Ben Simmons at the 5. We're going to see a lot more.
He can learn a lot more playmaking wise from Steve Nash.
And just be in more positions, be in different positions on the court, not just playing the point or whatever.
Yeah. I've been saying is just because a dude is 6'10" or 6'8" to 6'10", even 7 feet, doesn't mean you have to make him want to be just, great point guard all the time just because he can dribble. Yeah. He can still by position. That's why I think they should start actually letting some of these dudes play their position instead of just kind of forcing them to be a point guard just because he can dribble.
Carl like the traditional way.
Yeah, and like put the 6'10" dude down low like a power forward or a center, or whatever you want to play him at.
And that's what I think Nash is going to do. Because one thing we don't talk about is how creative Steve Nash is. He goes with a bunch of different lineups, and he's had to roll with the punches. Like you look at his first 2 seasons in Brooklyn, so much bullshit has happened, and he still found a way to work with what he's got. So I like his ability to experiment, and I think he's going to put Ben Simmons into many different positions to help him be successful. So we're not. I don't think we're going to see the same Ben Simmons on Philly, even if he doesn't have a jump shot. Let's say we have the same Ben Simmons guy. Let's say we have the same type of player. I think he'll just be in better position to succeed than what he was in Philly, because I think he's going to be put in better position situation.
My thing is he doesn't even need to have a 3-point shot. To me, if he has enough skill to at least get a floater, or at least a decent, you can still have a floater or at least a decent 15-footer. To me, if you have a 15-foot jump shot, that's good enough to be a great player in the NBA.
Yeah. And maybe he comes here.
Well, I'll say, my bad time. I say you at least got to be able to make a
mid-range
a three now and then. I'll say that.
Yeah. Even so, like at his size, just having that floater, that middle game, he's gonna. That's how I envision he's gonna be playing in Brooklyn. And maybe, we'll see him become, here's something we could see is we could see him become this high level role player. You know what I'm saying? We may not see all-star Ben Simmons anymore. You know what I'm saying? We may see him become like a really high level role player guy, and that'll be, which will be beneficial for Brooklyn, but he's not, his touches don't need to be up any more than what they were in Philly, for them to be successful. Like I said, play him at the 4, have him do the Draymond Green type of thing. And I think Steve Nash is going to do that. So we're going to see the same Ben Simmons. He's going to be utilized in different ways. And I think it's going to be for Brooklyn's benefit. But as I said before, just the availability is going to be in question. Is Kyrie going to be there half the playoffs? Answer to that is no. Unless something magical happens with that mandate in New York.
If they pay some money.
Yeah, right.
I definitely see what you're saying, though, Todd, because you're just looking at because since Kyrie's probably not going to be there that much, you're looking at the Kevin Durant and Ben Simmons dynamic.
And I just don't think that's enough to get past like a Milwaukee or like a Philly.
It's not, because that's a weird duo. So
maybe it could be enough to get out of the East.
But that's why I said it will work out if he can shoot, though. That's why I said that, because if you're having a Kevin Durant, which has the ball in his hands a lot, he's not used to passing the ball down to a person down low. Yeah. That's not his game. That's why I'm saying it would be weird to even use him as a big man in that case if he can't shoot. If Kyrie's there, it's different because he's a guard and he's more used to pass down to a big man than Kevin Durant is.
Distribute a little bit better, yeah.
So
the fit's weird. Like the fit's going to be weird. The fit's going to be weird if you want to use Ben Simmons in the pick and roll. Now the question is, who are you going to run pick and rolls with? Because you don't have, now they did lose a bunch of playmaking in Harden. They don't really have a guy who can make up for that. Patty Mills is an okay playmaker. Kyrie's not a great playmaker,
Because how much are they going to play Andrew Wiggins, Andre Drummond?
Yeah, not a lot. So we'll see what happens. Maybe Steve Nash asked KD to, take the reins more as a playmaker. And we know that it is actually something he can.
You told us he was capable of it. I really don't, because you said you remember doing the LKC and he did in that playoff game, them 2 playoff games when Kyrie and James Harden was there for one, but he's definitely capable of playing.
Yeah, like when I'm just like 2013, he did it when Russ was hurt. Against Houston that first round. So like I said, it's going to be. I think one of the biggest storylines that people aren't paying attention to is I think Nash's coaching skills are going to be on the forefront here. I think we're going to see a new version of Ben Simmons. I think we're going to see Kevin Durant being asked to do different things. And I'm interested to see how it all works out. But I think I'm overreacting a little bit. Even with Kyrie being in and out of the playoffs, this team is still going to be very competitive in any series.
I don't think you overreact. I just think we don't know. It's really that we can't pinpoint and be for sure how he's going to look on that team, because one, we don't know if he got better from a shooting perspective, which I don't know if he has. I doubt it. But to me, at this point, dude, of all this, all this stuff you went through about not playing and people saying you can't shoot or you should get better, but you don't look like you want to get better. He should have got better he should have got better in some area to me.
Yeah.
I highly doubt they did over these past. I doubt that.
I doubt it because it's been. I agree. It's been so much bullshit. I don't know what he could.
Yeah. I doubt it too. I'm just hoping that it's not true because, like, at some point, I don't know. Because at some point, instead of the coaches putting you in different positions to make you better, which that's their job. But at some point, you got to work on something.
You have to work on something. I agree.
So it's a 50-50. It's really, well, I don't even say 50. I think it's 75% sometimes on the player because you have to want to get better.
That's true. And it's tough too.
Yeah, Carl.
Yeah.
It's tough too. Giving some important life lessons out here.
It's weird too because check this out. Like usually when you're working with a new coach, will ask you to work on some things. Like now he's going here to Brooklyn and Nash is going to be using him totally different than how he was using Philly. So like Simmons isn't really going to have the time to develop those skills that he's going to have, with Brooklyn versus what he had to have with Philly. You know what I'm saying? So we'll see how it works. But if you don't have at least that floater shot, where you can run and pick and roll and ask him to kind of operate in that paint area, then it's going to be a little bit of a wash. So I'm like I said, I'm okay with him not fully developing that jump shot. I've always been, maybe that's not his game. Maybe he's just optimized at a different position. And hopefully Steve Nash is going to be able to be that guy to bring out the best of him by putting him in a different position. I think that's what I got to end up.
Like I said, we saw, because he has the same as far as talent as Giannis goes. He has the same amount of talent. And when you just look at just raw talent, but he doesn't have the same aggression. Yeah, that's the biggest difference. Yeah. So if he figures out some way to, I don't know, just put that aggression on the court, he'll be all right. But if he doesn't, I don't know. That's the thing.
We'll see what happens because, like I said, his work ethic was in question. I remember that becoming a thing, and so we'll see how it all works out. And so we'll see if he wants to play. You know what I mean?
Yeah.